All right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Too Fast for Too Furious. 2003. Giving it 1 out of 5 stars. I hated this even more than the original. I was holding out hope for Eva Mendes as well as Devon Aoki from Sin City, Eva Mendes from the great Children of the Corn 5, Killing Fields. But no such luck. Of course, they don't get naked. They never do. Not a PG-13 movie. There's a lot of cursing in this. It's got even worse rap star by the name of Ludacris. He's even worse than Ja Rule, if that's even possible. What is Ludacris talking about? Unbelievable how bad this is. And it had a budget of $76 million, a box office of $236.4 million. Talk about milking the original. Yes, Karate Man. So far, the series is way overrated, way even more than I imagined. And I should have known because my coworker thought it was great. This guy who was putting lids on vaults. And he quit to go work in San Carlos for one of the other cable construction companies. This guy was the laziest, most obnoxious person that you could imagine. And he likes these kind of movies. My coworker's husband watches these kind of movies because he's a mechanic. At least he has an excuse, but there is no excuse for watching this crud. Why did Karate Man even mention it to me? You want to see my bad reaction, I guess. I don't know. Too Fast, Too Furious is a 2003 action film directed by John Singleton, who did The Wiz and, he did Boys in the Hood. The other director did The Wiz and some other film that, was it Rob Cohen, the director of the original? Some other film that Karate Man made me put on my list. All right, this one's from a screenplay by Michael Brandt and Derek Haas, based on a story by Brandt Haas, Gary Scott Thompson, who was involved with who was the screenwriter for the first film. It's a sequel to The Fast and the Furious 2001, which is actually better. And the second installment in the Fast and Furious franchise, the film stars Paul Walker and Brian O'Connor, alongside Tyrese, Gibson, Eva Mendes. She looks good in a bikini. Cole Hauser, Chris Ludacris Bridges. This guy. I can't stand this guy. I can't stand any of these characters except for Devon Aoki and her pink race car, whatever that thing is. Japanese race car. She was kind of cute. I liked her in Sin City too. It should have shown more of her, if you know what I mean. Although she was barely wearing any clothes. She looked like she was dressed up like a schoolgirl, kind of kinky clothes. Anyways, we've got James Remar. I forgot to put his name in the description. James Remar. He was in 48 Hours, James Remar. How could I forget his name? I've got 48 Hours on my list somewhere in the 500s because Karate Man made me add it. I don't remember if I've seen 48 Hours when it came out on video, VHS back in the 80s. But James Remar. All right. I fixed that. Put his name in there. In the film, LAPD officer Brian O'Connor and his friend Roman Pierce Gibson go undercover for the U.S. Customs Service and the FBI to apprehend drug lord Carter Verone Hauser in exchange for the erasure of their criminal records. So this film doesn't really explain why the motivation, why he even let Vin Diesel go scot-free, which is completely inexplicable and stupid. But it does show that he's in big trouble for doing that. Aiding and abetting. That sort of thing. Why would he put himself in trouble like that? I just don't understand the motivation. You wanted to go on the dark side? What is this? This kind of stupidity going on here. Anyways, the second Fast and Furious film was planned after the box office success of its predecessor in 2001. It was confirmed with the returns of Walker and producer Neal H. Moritz, who makes cameo, I think. Then you got Vin Diesel and Rob Cohen, the co-star and director of the first film, were unable to return. Gibson and Singleton joined the cast in their absence in 2002. And the cast and crew change was not for the better on this one. Although I did like the Devon Aoki character. I hope she comes back in the sequels, but I'm not holding my breath. I don't know what's in 4, 5, and 6, but I'm hoping she's in at least one of them. To canonically account for Diesel's departure, the short film, the turbocharged prelude for Too Fast, Too Furious, 2003, was produced and released. It doesn't really account for anything. There's hardly any dialogue. Principal photography for Too Fast, Too Furious commenced in September 2002 and lasted until that December, while with filming locations including Miami and the surrounding areas in southern Florida. So this is like a really bad 2003 version of the Miami Vice TV show with really crappy rap music. I mean, really bad. It's even worse than the first movie, which is hard to do. I mean, that's really hard to be worse than the first movie soundtrack. But it is. It doesn't even have Scarface in it, this one. Too Fast, Too Furious premiered at the Universal Amphitheater in Los Angeles on June 3rd, 2003, and it was released in the United States on June 6th by Universal Pictures. The film received mostly negative reviews from critics. So I'm not the only one who hates this movie, okay? But it grossed $236.4 million worldwide because people are stupid. They watch garbage, rubbish, trash. A standalone sequel, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, was released in 2006, which, of course, Netflix didn't send me, which is fine because I'm actually going in chronological order. I'm going 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, which is the correct chronological order for this franchise, believe it or not. Tokyo Drift happens somewhere between 6 and 7. Having aided wanted felon Dominic Toretto, an ex-LAPD officer, Brian O'Connor has escaped to Miami and is in hiding, making a living street racing in events organized by his friend, mechanic Tej Parker. Brian is arrested following a race, and he's offered a deal by his former boss, FBI Special Agent Bilkins. This guy returns from the first one, and Customs Enforcement Agent Markham, who was in 48 Hours. Brian is offered to have his record cleared by going undercover to help secure the arrest of Argentinian drug lord Carter Verone. Does this sound like a Miami Vice plot to you? Or am I just imagining things? Brian agrees on the condition he chooses his partner. Brian enlists the help of his strange childhood friend, Roman Pierce in Barstow. Roman, on house arrest for Grand Theft Auto, is distrustful of Brian due to his time as a cop, and he blames the latter for his own arrest, resulting in a scuffle. Roman reluctantly agrees on the condition he can get the same deal. Is this a ripoff on 48 Hours? Is it a coincidence that one of the 48 Hours actors is in this? This is a ripoff on 48 Hours, Lethal Weapon, Beverly Hills Cop, all those movies with a white dude and a black dude. Or I could even say Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. Remember that duo? So they're trying to make it a clash of cultures. With the white dude and the black dude. The black dude's like jive talking, and the white dude's like, catch a killer wave, man. Catch a killer wave. Back in Miami, Customs Agent Monica Fuentes, who is undercover for Verone, gets them an audience after acquiring confiscated vehicles from an impound lot. Brian and Roman are informed Verone intends to smuggle money out of a house under surveillance in South Miami and flee the country in his personal jet. An angry Brian and Roman relay this information to Markham, the latter of which nearly compromised their identities during the car heist. To prevent Markham from undermining their job, Brian and Roman acquire a 1969 Yenko Camaro SYC and 1970 Dodge Challenger RT in a pink slip race from drivers they raced earlier at a nightclub. Verone tortures MPD Detective Whitworth into giving the men a window to make their getaway. So he takes a trash can, puts it on the guy's stomach. He sticks the rat inside, and he starts heating up the can till the rat's like clawing the guy's stomach. It looked really lame. The claw marks in this Miami Vice dude's stomach. At a nightclub, Verone tortures. Yeah, we talked about that. Afterwards, Roman confronts Brian about his attraction to Monica. Who wouldn't be attracted to her? Ludacris was all over the the Eurasian babe, and this one, Devon Aoki. Oh man, I like her ratty hair and her freckles. She, and then she gets in like a bikini. Same as Eva Mendes likes to wear the bikini, and her outfits are kinky, and she looks like a schoolgirl. That's all I've got to say. I just wish I could see more of her in other movies. Believing she is dirty and the threat of Verone, the two patch up their differences. Monica warns Brian the next morning that they will be killed after the drop. Regardless, Markham refuses to call off the mission. On the day of the job, while Brian and Roman load the money with Verone's hitmen, Enrique and Roberto, a couple of stupid guys, they're like a Hispanic version of Laurel and Hardy, these two guys. They're riding along. Whitworth orders the police move in early, resulting in a police chase across the city. The pair lead the police to a warehouse where a scramble organized by Tage causes chaos. Another implausible scene in this one. I heard rumors just by reading other people's comments online that the sequels tend to move more in the direction of making these people invincible superheroes. Like they can get away with anything. There'll be like 20 cop cars and they're able to just dispatch them like nothing happened. Brian and Roman elude the police in the muscle cars. Don't ask me how. While Tej and Suki, another street racer, are detained driving the police GPS tagged vehicles. As Brian approaches the airfield, Enrique orders him to detour to the marina. At the same time, Roman ejects Roberto from his car with an improvised ejection seat using nitrous. What is this, like the Batmobile or something? Anyways, at the airport, customs surround the plane, but realize they've been duped. At the marina, Verone reveals he was unaware he was under surveillance, gave Monica false information. Verone orders Brian killed and Monica onto his private yacht, intending to use her as leverage. Before Enrique can kill Brian, Roman arrives and the pair incapacitate him. Another lame fight scene, kicking him in the head. The violence and the gore in this are very laughable, but not in a good way. Verone flees aboard the yacht, but he is intercepted when Brian drives the Yanko off a ramp, and it crashes into the deck. Another green screen special effects thingy from. There are a ton of features on this disc, just as I expected, and one of them was a green screen special effects for the crashing onto the deck of the boat, which didn't look realistic to me, but hey, it's green screen. Brian, Roman, and Monica incapacitate and apprehend Verone. Their deal upheld. Markham clears Brian and Roman's record. Roman hands over Verone's cash. I'm not going to spoil the ending. Plans to make a sequel came about after the box office success of The Fast and the Furious, which grossed over $200 million worldwide. John Singleton had seen the first film and he was awed by it, saying, "When I saw the first Fast and the Furious, I was like, dang, why didn't I think of that? I'm not a big fan of Boys in the Hood. I think that one was overrated too, since we're talking about overrated movies here. Growing up in South Central LA, he had street races all the time. And he mentioned that in the bonus features. Singleton's rave reaction of the film, as well as the culture of street racing in general, influenced his decision to direct the sequel. So he's one of the homies. He can do a politically correct, ethnically diverse movie just like the first one and make it even worse. The director also claimed that the concept of street racing could be something young audiences can relate to. What? Are you trying to insult me? You're trying to say that I'm not going to like it because I'm not a young person? Because of the incredible response to The Fast and the Furious, we knew we had struck a chord with young audiences. I believe we had tapped into a culture, the very urban world of street racing. It really resonated with our fans who continue to support the film when it hit the streets on DVD and video. I mean, it really just exploded again, allowing even more people a chance to take the ride. We knew they were ready for another film, but only if we delivered one with the same authenticity and edge as the first. Well, we've done just that. That's the producer, Neal Moritz, on greenlighting the project sequel. You haven't done just that. You made it worse. You made a bad film worse. Stop trying to have pride in something just because it makes money. You're an idiot and a moron. The screenplay was written by Michael Brandt and Derek Haas, along with Gary Scott Thompson, the co-writer from the first film. We mentioned him. There were 2 film treatments submitted early on, one of which did not involve Vin Diesel's character in the event the actor would not return for the sequel. Singleton credited Top Gun as a major influence for the film, particularly with regard to the action sequences. And the action sequences consist of people stepping on the gas pedal, stepping on the brake, shifting gears, pressing the turbo button, and saying stupid things like, "See ya." Oh, God. How did I get myself into torturing myself into watching this horrible, horrible movie? Oh, yeah, Karate Man mentioned it. He wanted me to say if it was overrated. Yes. I will say it is overrated so far after watching the first 2. Vin Diesel was offered $25 million to return in the sequel for Dominic Toretto. However, he refused after reading the screenplay, as he felt that its potential was inferior compared to that of its predecessor. Rather, he chose to appear in the Chronicles of Riddick instead. Chronicles of Riddick looks like a good film. I like when that came out and I saw the ads on television, I think I was impressed with the special effects for the Chronicles of Riddick. According to Variety magazine in 2015, he was less taken with what the screenwriters had in mind for the film. They didn't take a Francis Ford Coppola approach to it. They approached it like they did sequels in the 80s and 90s, when they would drum up a new story unrelated for the most part and slapped the same name on it. However, Diesel reflected on his decision in a July 2014 report from Uprock, saying, "I would have said, don't walk away from it just because the script sucked in Too Fast, Too Furious. Because there's an obligation to the audience to fight no matter what to make the film as good as possible. I might have had a little bit more patience or belief in the long term of it." Yeah, money talks and BS walks, buddy. Paul Walker returned as Brian O'Connor in Too Fast, Too Furious. Paul Walker, who had just finished Timeline at the time, reprised his role in the second picture as Brian O'Connor. Tyrese Gibson I can't get into any of these characters except for the Eurasian babe with the tiny outfit. Tyrese Gibson, then known mononymously as Tyrese, also became a part of the cast, having previously acted in Singleton's Baby Boy, which I have not seen. I usually don't watch movies after 1995, but we do it all for the Karate Man on this channel. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which was a singer's feature film acting debut. He played Roman Pierce. Ja Rule, another prominent rap artist who appeared in The Fast and the Furious, was originally tapped for the role of Tej Parker. Ja Rule was offered $500,000 for the role, which is more than what he had been paid to appear in The Fast and the Furious, $15,000. According to Singleton, Ja got too big for himself. He turned it down. He turned down $500,000. He was acting like he was too big to be in the sequel. He wouldn't return calls. People are just insane. The director then hired Ludacris Bridges as a substitute. Bridges would later rise to prominence for appearing in the film, star in later films such as Crash and Hustle and Flow, neither of which I've seen. I'm going to be saying that a lot about these movies from the 2000s. Additional cast also included Cole Hauser as key villain Carter Verone, who also appeared in Singleton's Higher Learning, which I have not seen. Eva Mendes as an undercover agent, Monica Fuentes. And Devon Aoki as Suki, the sole female driver in the film. I want to see her again. I want to marry this girl. No, not really. I've got to be more careful about marrying shanty tramps. Married a couple of single mothers over my lifetime. That was a big mistake. Although one did result in my son. He's a good Catholic boy. He's doing altar service now. Principal photography began in fall of 2002, and Matthew F. Leonetti served as director of photography. Filming was done mostly in various parts of South Florida, such as Miami Beach, 7 Mile Bridge, and Homestead Air Reserve Base. Hauser's character mansion was shot in Coral Gables, in the house owned by Sylvester Stallone. At Big Bill Baggs' Cape Florida State Park, Too Fast, Too Furious was filmed on one side, while Bad Boys 2 was filmed on the other side at the same time. Car enthusiast himself, Walker drove a Nissan Skyline GTR model R34 borrowed from the film's technical advisor, Craig Lieberman, in the film's opening scene. Walker says that acting in this movie is like a dream come true. because he loves race cars. Aoki did not have a driver's license or any driver's experience prior to the film's production. Why? I don't know. She's 19 years old. I guess she's like my son. She wants to ride the bus, leave the driving to us. And she took driving lessons during filming. She drove a pink 2001 Honda S2000 AP1 in the film. It's a Barbie car. Gibson drove a convertible Mitsubishi Eclipse Spider, while Michael Ealy drove a Toyota Supra Turbo MK4 model JZA80 that had been used by Walker in The Fast and the Furious. All these Japanese cars, man. Honda, Mitsubishi, Toyota. Here we go again. Bunch of souped up Japanese cars that are supposedly faster than Ferrari. The musical score was composed by David Arnold, and it was terrible. The soundtrack was released on May 27, 2003 on Def Jam Recordings, the same record label that Ludacris was signed to. There was a point in time when Def Jam was decent, and then they kind of went downhill and rap died. Rap killed itself. Too Fast, Too Furious premiered at Universal Amphitheater on June 3rd, 2003. The short film, the turbocharged prelude, for Too Fast, Too Furious, which I have reviewed and which I hated, was released before select screenings and on special home releases of the first film. Of course, I watched the abridged version, 6 minutes. Too Fast, Too Furious was released on DVD and VHS on September 30th, 2003. It was later released on Blu-ray March 24th, 2009, and 4K Ultra HD on October 2nd, 2018. Too Fast, Too Furious earned $52.1 million in its U.S. opening in 3,408 theaters, ranking first for the weekend above Finding Nemo. I have seen Finding Nemo, and I hated it. The film went on to score the fourth highest June opening weekend behind Batman Forever, which I have not seen, but I have it on my list somewhere. Karate Man recommendation. Scooby-Doo, which I heard was horrible, and Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, another Karate Man recommendation. Why does Karate Man like these lamestream movies? I don't know. I think I like his B-movie picks better. Anyway, this was also the second consecutive Universal film of 2003 to make an opening weekend above $50 million after Bruce Almighty. Furthermore, the film surpassed Shaft to have the highest opening weekend for John Singleton film, and Triple X to have the biggest opening weekend for a Neal H. Morris film, respectively. During its second weekend, it fell behind Finding Nemo, making $19.1 million. Throughout its 133 days in release, the film received a peak release of 3,418 theaters in the U.S., and it earned $127.2 million domestically. The film had the 14th largest U.S. gross of 2003 and the 16th largest worldwide gross of 2003, combined with the international gross of $109.2 million. The film earned a whopping $236.4 million worldwide, although the budget was more than double the original. poured a lot of money into the sequel. On Rotten Tomatoes, Too Fast, Too Furious has an approval rating of 36% based on 162 reviews, an average rating of 4.8 out of 10. The site's critical consensus reads, beautiful people and beautiful cars in a movie that won't tax the brain cells. On Metacritic, it has a weighted average score of 38 out of 100 based on reviews from 36 critics, indicating general unfavorable reviews. Audience surveyed by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A- on a scale from A+ to F. So these are the people who actually watched the film, who are not movie critics, are the people who liked it. Anyways, Todd McCarthy and I'm not one of them, by the way, I absolutely hated this movie with every fiber of my being. Please show more Devon Aoki in future films. I'm begging you. Todd McCarthy of Variety magazine wrote, while this John Singleton directed sequel provides a breezy enough joyride, it lacks the unassuming freshness and appealing neighborhood feel of the economy priced original. Yeah, I think a lower budget actually helped the original. Scott Tobias of the AV Club wrote, Singleton abandons the underground racing subculture that gave the first film its allure, relying instead on lazy thriller plotting that's only a bag of donuts and a freeze frame away from the average TV cop show. That's what I'm saying. It totally rips off Miami Vice with a really lame 2003 soundtrack. USA Today's Mike Clark gave the film 2 out of 4 and wrote the movie is all about racing and character be darned. Although the still dazed-looking Walker and Tyrese finally get a little rapport going after worn out stories, very rocky start. He concludes back of pretension, helps the viewer get over the fact that this is just another retread. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times gave the film 3 out of 4 and said it doesn't have a brain in its head, but it's made with the skill and style, and boy, it is fast and furious. We do not like Roger Ebert on this channel. Any movie that Roger Ebert says is good, we automatically say it's bad. Any movie that Roger Ebert says is bad, we automatically say that it's good. That's how our channel rolls on this Roger Ebert stuff. In 2018, Derek Lawrence of the Entertainment Weekly called it the forgotten Fast and Furious gem, praised the chemistry between Walker and Gibson. I thought it was really lame. Hey, white boy. That's how they talk to each other. Anyways, in John Singleton's direction, in 2019, Blige Iberi of Vulture also praised the movie, especially Singleton's direction. In 2014, John Singleton said, it was awesome. The heads of the studio at the time were just like, just make it fun, make it cool, make it this gen. I didn't do all the techno music that they did in the first movie. I used nothing from Southern hip hop. I used nothing but Southern hip hop, which was like the rage at the time. I just funked it up. I made it more multi-ethnic. Oh, great. Thank you for making a politically correct multi-ethnic movie into an even more politically correct multi-ethnic movie. They kind of fall. They've even got this jive talking Asian dude who's annoying the heck out of me. I didn't like any of the characters in this movie except for the Amerasian babe. I think I've said that like 5 times. They kind of followed the paradigm that I set up. What we're going to do here is Paul Walker's character, God bless his soul. Paul Walker is going to be edgy. He's like a total wuss in this movie. He's going to be more like a bad boy. Give me a break. That was the film where he was a star. That was the movie where he was the star of the picture because we didn't have Vin Diesel. It was a real fun experience. Wow. After failing to secure the returns of Diesel, Walker, and any other movie of the original, any other member of the original cast, Universal ordered a standalone sequel, The Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift, which I do not have, and I will not get anytime soon. Moritz returned and hired director Justin Lin, who would go on to direct several subsequent installments in the series. So I got to look forward to Justin Lin. Let's hope his director skills are better than the previous two. Cross my fingers. Anyways, I got my buzz cut. Went to church in suit today. I dressed up. And I actually got responses from the parochial vicar and the parish the parochial vicar and the I can't think of his title. Father Joseph and Father Mike, I got responses from on the email. So that was impressive. I'll go do my Saturday reparation at Star of the Sea Church. With the 11:40 confession and the 12 o'clock Mass. I'm going to be fasting 4 days, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I want to be burned out on the weekend. But we'll try to catch up and get to the Renegade stuff. This week or next week. We'll see how fast I can get through the next 3 discs and the other 2 movies. So I've got Fast and the Furious 4, 5, and 6 coming from Netflix tomorrow probably. Let's see what I've got coming down the pike on my list. I couldn't add every single one of Karate Man's recommendations, but I can now because I've got Tubi and Amazon Prime in the works for next week or the week after, I mean. I don't think I can get through 3 movies next weekend, but I'll try. Might be able to get through maybe well, we'll see how that goes. I can't promise anything. Anyway, Ronin 1998 is the first movie on my list. And then after that is You Can't Take It With You, 1938. And then Renegade. I'm going to be stuck in Renegade episodes for the rest of October, I guess. And that's the plan. Well, I hope you're enjoying these videos because Karate Man is the only one commenting. Nobody's in the chat room. So my channel's pretty dead since I started doing this Fast and Furious franchise. Laters.